makes the world go round. Money makes the world go round. Money makes the world go round. Money makes the world go round. Yeah, money make a world go round. Money makes the world go round. It's money make a world go round. Yeah. Yo.
Welcome to Lunch Hour Legal Marketing's Office Hours. I'm Guy, and I am flying solo today as Conrad is out survival training. As many of you know, he is a mountain rescue. Probably got his certification wrong there, but he saves people from mountains as a ski patrol person. Shows my knowledge of ski patrol. I'll let Conrad talk about that next time he's here. So if you have questions, if you've got topics, legal marketing topics that are interesting that you'd like me to talk about, I will stick around. Probably gonna be a short one today. I will kick things off because I just saw something that I thought was very interesting. And that is that Google Maps has just made a huge new feature update. You can check it out on the Google Maps blog. But essentially, they've added this Ask Maps feature, which allows you to talk to Google Maps. And so it's Google Maps conversational AI. They give some examples in the blog post. Things like, where can I charge my phone without waiting in a long line for coffee? And is a public tennis court with lights? Can I play at night? So will this become something that Maps users use in the context of legal? Maybe. I'd be curious too, your thoughts on Maps as a originator of potential clients for your firm. We typically think of Maps in the context of local packs, especially for non-brand, lower funnel, direct response, Google business profiles. But as many of you know, that is inextricably intertwined with Google Maps. And so I think it's likely that we'll see users engage with Maps to ask questions about the law firm, much like they're asking in other contexts. It's probably also extremely useful in the context of firms you already know. So you want to do further research about a firm. Maybe someone refers a firm name or a lawyer's name to you and you want to get more information. Maps might be a place that users start to have those conversations about the firm. There are also some, just kind of some other highlights out of the Google Maps AI update. Some navigation, immersive navigation. I don't know, that one doesn't feel as much specific to legal, but if you're looking for alternative routes to the law firm, and I'd also be curious too. I know when we've done some polling on LinkedIn and in partnership with our Near Media research, and this is an area where we've got a lot of different viewpoints. But the question is do your potential clients tend to still want to come to your office for initial consultations, or have they adopted, and largely this is also going to be a function of whether you offer it, or have they adopted mostly virtual meetings? Are you doing, engagement retainer letters via text messages and, maybe you're doing Zoom meetings for initial intros and things like that. I'd be curious to get your thoughts. You can drop them in the comments or you can ask questions about that. Our Near Media research indicates that a lot of people still value that in-person meeting. And so, in the context of Maps, they've got where the driving directions and the route stuff might come into play. But anyway, feel free to drop any questions or comments you might have. As many of you know too, Conrad and I will be in Chicago in a couple weeks for ABA Tech Show 2026. We are holding live recording sessions. And so if you go to lunchhourlegalmarketing.com, you can sign up if you'd like to ask a question. If you're a listener of the show, you know that we feature community members on Lunch Hour Legal Marketing. So if you want to do something like that, or if you've got a marketing product, marketing legal tech, or legal marketing, legal tech adjacent product, we'd love to interview you and get a sense of how you help lawyers market their practices, deliver better client experience, all that kind of good stuff. And of course, for those of you who listened to the episode that just dropped, thanks again to Rich Runin for joining us. He is the Olympic curler, also a personal injury lawyer. Some really great insights, I think, both in how he thinks about his curling journey in the context of law practice and how those things overlap, and some of the places that they do marketing in that community, and how that's actually been a big new business generator for them. So go check that out. And finally, last plug pitch for Lunch Hour Legal Marketing is if you haven't done so, grab your tickets for Lunch Hour Legal Marketing Summit, August 11th through 13th in Nashville. We'd love to see you there. We're also, you can go to lunchhourlegalmarketing.com if you're interested in doing an Ignite talk. Really trying to amplify and elevate some new voices. And so even if you've never spoken before, but you want to give it a try, I think this is a good format. I mean, Ignite talks are tough, so let me put that out there right away. But I think it's an environment that is really supportive of new voices. And so we'd love to hear from you. If you've got ideas for Ignite talks, please do submit those. All right, what else do we got? Oh, we have got a question. Thank you so much, Mike Howard. Mike, as my clients and potential clients almost never want to come in person, which still surprises me, even though this has been the case for 6+ years. So not so much a question, but a comment and experience share. And it's interesting too. That was the sentiment that I think Brian Glass shared, that sentiment as well. It was on LinkedIn. And so, I think a lot of it, it's going to be a lot of it depends here, but some of it's going to depend, is going to be a function of where you're located, where the clients are that you serve. Some of it's a function of, what options and expectations you set at the beginning of the representation. If you're, out there with a bunch of different options for people to do initial consultations that are not in person, don't be surprised that I think a lot of people take advantage of that, and it cuts both ways. But just from a Guy's take on this, I'm always saying give people options and meet them with where they're comfortable, right? So some people, they want to do virtual. People are busy. They don't want to have to drive, especially if you're in a congested downtown area and you're like, you got to come into the office. Like, you're just creating friction for them. Other people, meeting face-to-face for someone that's going to be representing them in potentially one of the most difficult times of their life, whatever legal context it is, they might want to meet you face-to-face and shake your hand and have coffee with you. And a lot of that's going to depend on who you serve, but giving people options, I think, is the best bet. Have the the best of both worlds there. So thanks for sharing that, Mike. And again, I can't. The takeaway here, the best practice is to try to reduce that friction the best you can in a variety of different contexts. It's funny, if you've tracked anything, the collaboration we did with Answering Legal, this is a conversation that we had. You can go check that out on the Answering Legal's Everything Except the Law podcast. But in a perfect world, right? Legal services consumers, a lot of them, they'd love to have access to a lawyer on demand 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And that's obviously unrealistic for most lawyers and most businesses, most law firm businesses to deliver on. The other end of that is the thing that's building around the thing that's most convenient for the law firm. And of course, that creates a lot more friction if you're like, leave me a voice message and I'll get back to you when I have the time. And so solving a lot of these issues is a big part of the business side of the practice of law. And I just reiterate that you got to find the right fit for you, but the more that you can reduce that friction, not surprisingly, we see this time and again, conversion rates go up, client satisfaction rates go up, positive reviews go up. Again, the cliche here is that a lot of clients, they don't know what it's like to get a good outcome in their specific legal situation, but they certainly know what it feels like to be listened to be treated with respect. And so all of these, the ways that you serve your clients from a service standpoint, for lack of a better way of saying it, make a big impact in their hiring decision. So I would keep that in mind. What else Otherwise, this is going to be a really short one today. Um, we appreciate your attention and participation in office hours, and we'd love your feedback too. If you come to these periodically and you're like, you know what, I've listened a couple times, it's not my thing, we'd love to hear that too. Again, this is just about trying to answer questions and deliver value to our audience and beyond just the podcast. So we really do appreciate it, and we are grateful for your time and your valuable attention. Well, if there's no other questions, the only other thing I'll highlight here, which I think is just interesting personally, is there's this. I posted this on LinkedIn, but Michael Tannenbaum at the Philly Voice reported on Fergie's Pub, and what Fergie's Pub did. There's this corridor down I-95 in Philly that's just. I've actually never seen this, but according to the article, it's just packed with personal injury law firm signs, billboards. And, we've got corridors here outside Detroit where I live, which is very similar. So I can relate to that. I'm sure in many of the local listener markets, you have those corridors as well. And so Fergie's Pub, which is a bar, they're not lawyers, they took out a billboard ad and it says injured. And then, do not call these guys. They actually own a bar, and it's an ad for Fergie's Pub. And I just thought that was a great example of standing out. And so, if you think about the corridors, the billboard corridors that you're in your community, or you think about the messaging from a lot of lawyers, especially in personal injury land, they all look the same, right? Tough looking lawyers. Maybe they've got some kind of hammer or something else that demonstrates their toughness and willingness to fight. But when everybody's doing that, it doesn't stand out. And so I think this is just a great example of the juxtaposition of standing out and also poking fun of the the saturation of personal injury lawyer billboards. And so trying to take some lessons away from that, this is exactly what Conrad and I are talking about all the time. In terms of messaging that positions you standing out against the grain of what everybody else is doing. Does it mean taking a billboard out, a creative billboard out for your firm? Not necessarily, but being strategic in how you think about what it is you do, your audience, where they are, all the other messaging that they're bombarded with every single day, that moves the dial more than just saturation. So don't get me wrong, especially in billboard and traditional media, radio, the frequency and the amount of media you're buying does matter, no doubt about it. You've got to have exposure. You've got to have, you've got to have your message coming out. But it is that much more effective when it stands out and when your message resonates than when it sounds like everybody else's message. Oh, Mike, again, thank you. For people starting out, specifically criminal defense, what advice would you give about what marketing to focus on first, SEO, PPC, or infrastructure? Thank you, Mike. This is a softball question for me. Infrastructure for sure. No question about it. And when we talk infrastructure, intake, we'll think about this in the context of SEO and PPC. But if you're spending money to capture demand, which that's what SEO and PPC does, right? So I'll define that a little bit. SEO, people are out there performing searches. Search engines show organic results. Hopefully your pages and presence, Google Business Profile, maybe it's an internal page on your site, maybe it's a one box, but that's demand capture, right? There's already demand for someone searching for a criminal defense lawyer near me, criminal defense lawyer with your city permutation. If you're investing money in that and you don't have the infrastructure to actually handle those intakes and work those potential clients all the way through to retainer and have the capacity to actually deliver an excellent service as well, right? That's the other problem that we see all the time here. You're wasting money. At best, there's some leakage in your quote unquote funnel, right? Some people maybe you're missing phone calls. Maybe your intake is that you're not, you're answering the phone, but your intake system, people are falling out of that. You're losing to competition. People are ghosting you on initial client consultations, things like that. That's why infrastructure is so important. It's even not any more or less, but equally important in PPC, right? You're paying ads. And so if you're not able to monetize those clicks, a lot of times we see this, and you'll see marketing people all the time talking about this, is that the issue really gets down to the infrastructure, the bandwidth, how you answer the phone, your availability to answer the phone, right? The one that gets me all the time is that lawyers will invest all this money in whether it's SEO or PPC, and then they're advertising that their office is closed and they're not taking calls. Like, again, if you put yourself in a legal services consumer's shoes that's going to make a hiring decision, that it's based on seeing an ad in Google or your Google business profile, it's so important that you're delivering a remarkable experience in your intake process, or else you're just going to have, those potential clients are not going to hire you for a variety of reasons. Some of it relates to some of the things that I said, but it really is infrastructure first. And the other thing that I'll say, and this came up on a call the other day that I was participating in, I don't even know if SEO and PPC would be second and third on that list. There are so many things that you can do to get the word out, to deliver a remarkable experience, get people to spread word of mouth before you start investing in SEO and PPC. And don't get me wrong, that's what my company does. We spend a lot of time finding ways, and Conrad, same thing, and it's extremely valuable. But is it the first thing that I would do at my firm? Like, probably not. The pushback on that, the counterpoint, if I'm going to play devil's advocate with myself here, is people say, Guy, that all that stuff you talk about, relationship building, reputation, networking, brand building, that stuff takes time. Like, I need cases now. I need clients now. Advertising certainly does that. Now, whether you can monetize local services ads or pay-per-click ads or direct response ads in other channels, like a totally different ballgame. But I do think that advertising is, that closes the gap on the time, but you tend to pay a premium for it. And so I'm always saying, look, get a nice portfolio mix across these different channels. Don't rely on one single channel. And the other point that keeps coming up that we've been talking a lot about recently is that those brand investments you make now, they impact your non-brand or PPC, non-brand, even non-brand organic performance as well, because the research shows that when someone's doing one of those non-brand searches, even if they've been exposed to your brand message, so they know your name, they know your firm name, if they're not thinking about it when they're searching for you, they do a non-brand search, when they see you show up, even if you're not in the top spot, they're more likely to choose you because of that, call it awareness, call it affinity, that recognition. You're doing something in their community that's like, oh yeah, I know that firm. I should have thought of them the first time. It's a really good point. So I always say, I'm like, leading the charge on this diversification, especially in light of the flux that we're seeing as a lot of these platforms, Google in particular, switching to AI mode, the variance and flux in ChatGPT and these other generative AI tools. So, and that's something I'll be speaking about at ABA Tech Show. So if you want to dive deeper into how to appear in AI powered search, come join that session, and certainly join Conrad and I at the Lunch Hour Legal Marketing table, because we're happy to go deep on any of these subjects. Well, we're about 20 minutes in here. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today and posing those questions. Since I'm flying solo, though, I am going to wrap it up and cut it short, but I wanted to make sure that we did deliver on our regularly scheduled Lunch Hour Legal Marketing. And you can join us every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook primarily for Lunch Hour Legal Marketing office hours. Thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.